I'm so glad you're here, because we are finishing up our monster mesh. I just jump scared myself by seeing my dress form out of the corner of my eye. We are finishing up our Monster Mash Halloween project series with our last monster, or rather more of a creature. I don't know. I guess monster is fitting. I've been wanting to make a rib cage piece and a spine running down the back. I've seen other creators make rib cage and spine pieces, and I've been wanting to do it for a while, so I thought, what kind of creature would be wearing so many bones? I didn't want to just be a skeleton, so I think what I'm going for, or at least what's been in my brain all month long, is kind of a Grim Reaper sort of thing. I don't know if I'm gonna make a scythe. That would be cool. But for now, this is the design I have. Because I want to make the rib cage and the spine, I thought it would be fun to make parts of my face, my skull. Maybe I can do like part jaw, part eye. I'm not really sure. I haven't decided what parts of my face I would like to skullify. And aside from the rib cage and the spine, I do want to make like a bone crown. Maybe some other bone accessories, because I did purchase quite a few bones. I knew I probably wasn't going to have time to sculpt, what is this, 36 plus, because I have others. Because right now the plan is to sculpt the ribcage and the spine pieces using foam clay, so I wanted to make my life just a little bit easier, and I went ahead and got some bones. To finish this cool look, I also thrifted these. They're gloves. I got these from a garage sale where they had a lot of their old Halloween stuff. In fact, this print here also came from that house, as well as my creepy window. But once I saw these and I knew that I was going to do my bone creature Grim Reaper thing, I had to grab them because they are so cool. They are a little small on my thick wrists, so I might have to extend the Velcro over. Well, the plan is to have long sleeves that will kind of cover where these end and my skin begins. And then also to make the clothing pieces, I have here 3 black sheets. Oh my gosh. 3 different black sheets. I think they're all either full or queen or king. None of them are twins, so we've got plenty to work with. We've got 2 that are just kind of a polyester blend with cotton, and then we've got this one, which has a shine to it, and it's very silky, and it's falling everywhere. Oh my gosh, there's so much. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm very excited about this one. I've been excited about this one all month long. I knew I had to save it for last because I've just been too excited, and I think it's gonna look pretty cool in the end. And while I would normally do all of these sewing components first, I think it would be more prudent to do the sculpting pieces first. That way they have time to dry while I'm doing all of the sewing. So we're gonna sculpt some bones. I'm dying to get to work, so let's get started. So I sat down and got to sculpting. I still hadn't decided what to make for my face, so I moved on to the ribcage. I laid some plastic wrap over my dress form and sculpted directly onto it so that as it dried, it would hopefully hold its shape. Next came the spine, and I wanted to save my other foam clay for the face piece, so I used model magic and made a line of spinal sections that ended up being around 13 inches long in total. Then it was time to decide what to put on my face, and after going around and around for a while about the placement, I decided to just start throwing things on and see what I liked. The only problem was, this foam clay wouldn't stick to my face long enough to really visualize anything. The next day, extra points to anyone who knows what story my outfit was inspired by. Anyway, I realized I didn't have a pattern in my stash that would work for the blouse I wanted to make. So I went to the Mood Fabrics website in their free pattern section and luckily found one that I thought would work perfectly. I downloaded it, printed it out, but before putting it together, there was something else I had to do first. To make sculpting the face piece easier, I thought it'd be fun to make a cast of my face. So I changed, put some plastic wrap over my hair, read the instructions, glued down my eyebrows, and then covered them with latex to protect them. Once I vaguely looked like Count Olaf.
Hello, hello, hello. I am your beloved Count Olaf.
It was time to start plastering. I got a tub of water ready and started cutting the plaster roll into strips of various sizes. Then it was just a matter of dunking them each into the water for a few seconds, shaking off any excess water, and laying them across my face. This surprisingly didn't take very long, though it was very messy, and in the end, this might be the most terrifying look I've had all month. I left 2 small air holes around my nostrils, but other than that, I couldn't really move my face, talk, or laugh with ease. And while putting it on was easy, taking it off... How do I still have any hairs left on my face? Goodness gracious. Oh, the latex worked like a charm. And the chapstick worked well too. My homemade chapstick. Ooh, okay, that pulled a little bit. Oh my god, so much hair. I'm gonna have to wipe everything down because everything I'm sewing with is black fabric. But it's my face. Ew. What is it? Oh no. I'm gonna go jump in the shower because there's so much happening here. Yeah, I should have put something on my skin to make that a bit easier. Lesson learned, I guess. Despite the many tiny hairs I sacrificed to the mask, it did work. Well, sort of. The day after that, I used some molding resin to make the form of my face, and despite brushing some dish soap on to help it release that I read online would work, it didn't work, and I ended up having to destroy the entire cast in order to get the molded shape out. My face was a little porous from the bumpy plaster strips, but you know what, that's actually pretty accurate, so no notes. I took my foam clay out once more and started sculpting onto the face, which I learned quickly also needed some plastic wrap to protect it and to release the clay. And after playing around with it for a minute, I decided to make a half skull face mask, using some black see-through fabric for the eye sockets and sculpting around them to make the skull. I used some black foam clay to cover my nose and make a fake, empty nasal cavity. And before long, the sculpting was done, which meant it was finally time to start sewing. After assembling the blouse pattern, I started cutting everything out. That is, after I removed my dramatic sleeves, so I wouldn't accidentally cut into those in the process. I got the blouse and skirt cut out from one sheet, and I couldn't wrap my brain around the plan for the cloak just yet, so I waited until the next day to jump in. I wanted to use the shiny sheet for the cloak, which meant I had to be very careful when cutting it out, as I only have one, so I took my time trying to Frankenstein pattern pieces together. It ended up taking 4 different patterns from my stash, but eventually I figured it out. I watched Bly Manor while I worked, starting with the blouse and testing out my hood pattern, which needed work, so I kept going with the blouse. The pattern gathers at the neck and has a collar, but to add some extra drama to it, I decided to add some lace to the collar. I love the lace that I had, but it needed some more structure to hold the shape and come up higher on my neck, so I once again plastic wrapped my dress form and painted some fabric stiffener onto the lace collar. While that's set, I finished the blouse's main construction, and at first it was giving Uncle Fester, but overall it didn't look too bad. Next I put the skirt together. It was pretty straightforward. Only 2 skirt pieces, a waistband, and I even remembered to add pockets. My goal is to be able to wear these pieces outside of this project, and so far so good. The waist was a little bit big, so I added some elastic and then called it a night because it was late. The next day the only thing left to sew was the cloak, and these shiny fabric noodles reminded me of something very specific.
Do not mind.
Lots of protected edges, an altered hood pattern,
There you are.
and 2 very dramatic sleeves later, the cloak was fully assembled. By this time, the lace collar was dry and ready to be stitched onto the blouse. And then came the trickiest part of this costume, the bones. I debated how I should wear them. Should I attach them directly to my cloak? Should I attach them to the shirt? Or should I make them a separate, removable piece all on their own? And that's the idea that won out in the end. That way the clothes could still be worn normally. At first, I beaded the spine pieces onto a black cord with pearls in between, and although I did like how it looked, I ended up changing it later. While I tried to think of a better way to construct the bone pieces, I made the crown, which was just hot gluing fabric and bones onto this halo headband. I wasn't sold on it at first, though, and between that and the bigger bone issues, I decided to call it a night and revisit with a fresh set of eyes. The next day I put the spine on a piece of wire hanger left over from my fairy video, and finally figured out how to wear the bones. The spine looped onto a choker necklace that held it up by hanging onto my neck. Top ribs were sewn with a black thread to the top of the spine piece, also around my neck, and the bottom ribs connected to the back bottom of the spine piece via hook and eyes. The bones were looking a little too clean, so I took some gray acrylic paint and aged them a little. This creature is, after all, as old as life itself, so they'd have at least a little bit of weathering. At that point, everything was done, but I couldn't stop thinking about the scythe. So I grabbed an old chip box and my mop handle and quickly threw the eternal weapon together with some hot glue, silver fabric, tiny bones, and black paint. Before long, every piece in our Reaper costume was done. So it's time for the reveal.
What are you doing? You gotta film the outro.
Oh, I actually think I like everything I made this month. I wasn't sure how things were going to turn out because honestly, leading up to the week before, I didn't know exactly what I was going to make this year. But I think I like everybody. Even my creature from the Black Lagoon. I think he's growing on me the more I revisit that footage and those pictures. But this Grim Reaper was a bit trickier than I thought it would be to make, but I really like how it turned out. I really like the mask. The casting my face experience was really fun. I'm gonna have to do it again. Lots of lessons learned there. But yeah, now I have a mold of my face so I can make other cool stuff in the future. I really like the bone pieces. They are a bit tricky to get on and off, but it was worth it, I think, to figure out how to remove them, because now they can be used for anything and worn with anything I want. Not specifically for it, although I did break it. I did immediately break it after I was done filming. The little stopper at the end of the wire on the back of the spine in the back that also held the ribs in place on the bottom just popped right off. But it held up for the filming, and that's what counts. I really only watched two things during this process. The first one was Marianne, which is a French Netflix show, and I'd seen it before a few years ago, but I hadn't seen it since. I liked it just as much as I did the first time. I don't think it's a 5 out of 5, but I think a 4 out of 5 will suffice. 4 out of 5 bats for Marianne on Netflix. And then I also watched Bly Manor. The first time I watched it, I didn't really like it as much as I did Hill House, but the second time I watched it, I loved it, and it's become a yearly watch for me, so that's a 5 out of 5 bats. I do love everything I made, though I am now quite tired. So I think this beautiful Halloween day, I'm going to enter my final form, turn into a pumpkin, and take a nap. But thank you for following along and watching our Monster Mash party come together. If you liked this video, you can let me know by hitting the like button. And if you want to see what I'm doing next, join the channel, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to know when I post, hit the notification bell. YouTube will let you know. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Happy Halloween. This is how I become my final form. Just tuck the arms in, adjust the face. Come here, Para. Oh, hello. Hello, you baby. You have a pumpkin costume too. We can be a pumpkin patch. You don't want to be a pumpkin? Oh, shush.